All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Submission Radio Live. And do I have a special lineup for everybody here at home? It may be quiet in the world of MMA and interesting in the world of boxing, but it is hot over here on Submission Radio Live. I have a couple of guests I want to introduce. The first man right here has a very nice piece of business coming out with Derek Lewis on the golf course. I don't know when, but I can't wait to watch. You know him from his BTLs, watch-alongs, massive interviews, and MMA fighting. The one and only Mike Heck. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, I played golf with Derek Lewis. Yes, it was everything you would expect it to be, probably, and more. And hopefully that drops in the next week or two. So something new, something fresh, something fun in this wonderful MMA space of ours.
Something for us to look forward to. And this is something I've been looking forward to for years. This next man is an absolute legend. You know him from his decades of covering combat sports, so many memorable boxing moments that he's been a part of. Now he's got a new book coming out, Call of the Warrior, which offers an intimate look at some of the biggest sporting figures through black and white, beautiful black and white photography, which I can't wait to put on my own coffee table. We are joined by royalty. We are joined by a legend. We are joined by Gareth Davies here on Submission Radio. Gareth, welcome to the program, my friend.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for that lovely intro as well, my friend.
Dude, that book looks amazing. And we'll talk about the book before you go. But I want to get right into it because I feel like your world, Gareth, specifically the boxing world right now, is an interesting place to be. I want to go to you first, Gareth, and then to you after, Mike. First things first, is it possible? And what is your response, Gareth, to people saying Dana White basically, they think Dana White got fired from promoting this big fight for Turkey? Obviously, for people that didn't realize, he was supposed to promote the Canelo-Crawford fight. It was supposed to be in a big stadium. And then, of course, Turkey came out with a tweet saying that it is not, in fact, Dana White promoting it anymore. I've never seen Dana White get fired so publicly before. This is insane.
Well, that's an interesting spin on it. Thank you for coming to me first. All I think that's happened is originally the Crawford-Canelo fight was going to be in Vegas on the Friday. And I think the UFC have got an event, I believe, in Guadalajara on the 13th. And they moved, God knows why they were deciding to Canelo Crawford on a Friday. It just doesn't make sense at all at the Allegiant Stadium. Who's heard of a giant boxing match on a Friday and, you know, kind of bowing to what's happening? I think it's in the NBA, or I think there's college basketball finals or something that people were worried that would overtake the boxing. But I think all has happened. I think I got the feeling when they announced this, when Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh were together and they were announcing the TKO deal, that Dana was ambushed a little bit on the day by Turkey to take over that event, to get going straight away with TKO promotions. And I think he's just taken the view that, look, I'm the head man of the UFC. We've got this big event in Guadalajara. I think it's Guadalajara, isn't it? A Noche event on the Saturday, and I've got obligations to this first of all, and I'm going to take my responsibilities better. But I prefer your headline, putting your spin on it, that Dana White got sacked by Turki Al-Sheikh, because there's certainly two guys who believe in my way or the highway, and it's going to be very interesting how it plays out between both of them. Obviously, I mean, I've been across, I think, about 9 visits to Saudi Arabia now with boxing events, and they do it like no one else. And as you know, when you've got endless pots of money, you can actually control the combat sports sphere, which the UFC have done progressively, and which is what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing now in boxing.
It's interesting as well. That's an interesting point, Gareth. Not as sexy as Dana getting fired, but still interesting nevertheless. Mike, people who were saying Dana White needs to be focused on the UFC brand. There was like a little bit of hate on the fact that why is this guy focusing on boxing? He's not going to press conferences. He's kind of like checked out of the UFC a little bit during a time when the sport's kind of in a shitty spot, not from a financial perspective, but just from fans tuning in. Do you think this is kind of, in a way, a good thing for Dana to step aside here and be more present with the UFC during this time? Like, has it kind of worked out a little bit better for him perception-wise, you reckon?
When was the last time Dana was into the UFC and all in about it? Because I mean, it's been years. he has so many other things going on right now. He's got Power Slap. He's got all these different businesses, and you could tell that his passion is with all of those right now. The UFC can run itself. And when everything happened New Year's Eve and that video came out and Dana was getting his name tarnished through the mud, the big question was, can the UFC survive without Dana White if TKO and Endeavor decided to part ways and have him move on to future endeavors, maybe not have him be the face of the company? And I was always under the impression that, yes, they would be fine. Now, obviously with Dana, he is very important to the business structure of things because he has relationships with very powerful people. So when you want to get TV deals done, when you want to get different kinds of sponsorship deals done, big money deals, you want Dana in the room. It's focal. It's huge to have Dana as a part of this. But to say like, oh, he's not going to do this boxing thing because he's 100% focused on the UFC is absolutely insane, because he hasn't been. He doesn't show up to press conferences. John Anik is basically the pre-fight press conference guy. And it's just a whole different vibe when John is there. Dana will show up to the ceremonial weigh-ins. He might do like a press conference previewing the next month's card if he just happens to be in town before ceremonials. He'll go to the event. Sometimes he'll just fly home and not do media after. The dude didn't do media after Islam Makhachev and the whole Jack Della Maddalena thing. Like, he just hopped on a plane and went home. Like,
poor Dave Shaw.
He's just, yeah. And then they trot Dave Shaw out there and give him the most impossible job in the world.
Head him to the firing squad.
It's so ridiculous. And he has no answers to anything. How is he supposed to answer when Islam Makhachev is supposed to fight Jack Della Maddalena? So it's tough to say, man. Like, I didn't look at this as like Dana's being fired. The worst way I looked at this was like, maybe the talks weren't going great. And this is Turkey's just, he's throwing a shot here. And we haven't heard from anybody since. Like, Dana hasn't spoken publicly about it. Turki Al-Sheikh hasn't clarified anything. So I don't know what to think of all of this. I'm kind of with Gareth, but at the same time, like, the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul card, which was, we all know what that was, that took place on a Friday at a stadium during football season. And it did pretty darn good. And I don't think this would do terrible either.
I was there, and that's a very good point. That was a Friday. That was a Friday.
And the UFC MSG card 309 was the day after. That was the John Jones fight. So they had Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and you had John Jones, not Tom Aspinall. I'm sure we'll get there. And Stipe Miocic headlining that card. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing seeing Dana like on top of the Empire State Building with Crawford and Canelo, and it's just wild, man. It's
definitely a curveball that he was there as the promoter initially, and obviously I think they're now going to move that event away, potentially away from Las Vegas. It could go to the East Coast. It could go anywhere, but I mean they've got the power to put it on anywhere, and you know, I mean, speaking from this side of the world, I mean, events are being hugely supported here, boxing events by British fans at the moment. We just had 65,000 people at Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, a kind of nostalgia fight, if you like, because of the fathers 32 and 35 years ago when I began covering boxing, weirdly. You know, I'm a little bit out of the loop in terms of hard news. I mean, I've got two resident radio shows here on TalkSport every week, and myself and Adam Catterall often talk about. Obviously, I keep an eye on MMA. I go back in the day with John Anik on MMA Live, for God's sake, back in the 2007, 2008s. You know, in Bristol, in Connecticut, and you know, even with the late great Stephan Bonner and those guys, Randy Couture and Kenny Florin, all those guys. When an MMA show that was online was so popular, it forced itself onto network TV. I mean, it's great to hear John's being so successful in that way, but I wasn't aware that Dana isn't there ubiquitously all the time now. That he dips in now. It doesn't surprise me. I think Joe Rogan does the same thing as well, doesn't he? I mean, I think I'm talking as someone who has been around combat sports a very, very long time. You do actually need a break from it. I mean, I'm the same age as those guys. You know, I'm coming up 60 myself, and
Get
know,
out of here, Gareth. You look like you're 25. Look at
yeah,
look
well,
at
you're
the
just
look
too
at
kind.
the.
But I don't think I'll be getting you in a headlock anymore. Like I was the last time I saw you at the performance center in our little skit. That you should find that somewhere and put it up on this show because it is
Okay, let me
amusing.
get
I
it.
think I went a little bit from 0 to 100% in about 4 seconds. But no, but I think there's an energy level that you have for it when you've been involved a very long time that you can't do it week after week after week after week. So, you know, I'll give Dana his dues in that respect. I still think he's a powerful figurehead. But my observations, you know, I'm involved in bare knuckle boxing now, in crypto boxing. I'm traveling a lot and presenting a lot. And I'm probably writing a column a week for the Telegraph, doing my William Hill stuff, doing TalkSport. But I comment on the UFC quite a lot. I think PFL is a different animal. That they're still testing the waters everywhere and getting funding. But my big thing with the UFC, and I was looking down at all the weight divisions the other day, which is, and the salient thing for me is, where are the stars? And I mean that kindly, not rudely, because when I began in covering the UFC in deep waters, really, the first broadsheet journalist to cover it here in the UK, 2005, 2006, and I had Dan Hardy and Michael Bisping as figureheads here, and obviously they both became very successful in the industry. The cards were replete with the Coutures and the Ortiz and the Chael Sonnens, and those guys were. There were so many big names. You know, the least name on the card was a Keith Jardine, for example, in those days. And I think there were 180 fighters in those days on the roster. And over 5, 6, 7 years, I think I interviewed everyone. And this explosion, even though it's in 162 countries or whatever it is, and it's worth 18 billion, aligned with the WWE, and it's incredibly successful. I'm searching in those lists of top 10, top 15 in each weight division, searching for 10 global superstars. And I think that's a big problem for them. The best years of Conor McGregor, the best years of John Jones, the last 5 years have probably been lost to the UFC, and they could really have capitalized.
Yep.
Very, very good point.
The star of the 3 letters. It's the UFC has become what WrestleMania has become. Like, it doesn't matter who's on the card. Oh, WrestleMania is going to be in our city. Sells out in 90 seconds. Yeah. Oh, the UFC is coming to town. I don't even know who the main event is. No, Derek Lewis is headlining.
Name me. All right, name me. Heck, name me 7 stars in America in the UFC. Name them off the top of your head now.
Ooh.
It's hard, man. Like, Dane is the face. I mean, Alex
Pereira.
All
their stars are international, really, aren't they, Mike?
Yeah, and it's hard to even kind of mathematically put together what actually creates a star now. Because at least back in 2016, before the ESPN deal, we could say, well, this guy generated this. This was the gate, and he sold this many pay-per-views. We don't even get those numbers anymore. We have no idea.
But think of the time of Kane and Brock and Ronda, Holly.
Oh yeah.
You could. There were 7 to 10 names that you could go in a bar in America where there's NBA on there's NFL, there might be golf in one corner, and there's UFC on one screen, yep. And the everyman having a pint in the bar having a beer would know 10 names from the UFC.
That's George St. Pierre. That's that
exactly.
guy. They know. Yeah. And they know
something's changed.
Yeah. They know John Jones. They know Alex Pereira. They might know Sean O'Malley, but it has nothing to do with fighting. They know him from social media and all the other endeavors that he has. They might know who Max Holloway is. They might, for the same reasons, because he's a big video game player and his social media stuff is huge. He's crossed over to different places. But yeah, you're right. And that's a huge issue right now for the fan base. It's not an issue for the UFC because it don't matter who fights for them. It does not matter who main events a card because they will break the North American Fight Night gate record with Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. And they'll do it again in Nashville with Derek Lewis fighting a guy who's making his second UFC appearance. He is getting a main event, not at the Apex, in a 15,000 seat arena in his second UFC fight. And I guarantee you they will sell every ticket, which is overpriced, and they are pushing the fan base out of the equation with their overpricing their tickets. And they will do it the biggest gate that arena has ever seen, with a card headlined by Derek Lewis versus Taliesin Teixeira. Gareth Davies, do you know who Taliesin Teixeira is?
No, I obviously know the Black Beast, who's probably creeping around
Right.
your curtain, which keeps moving to your left. Is he behind the curtain there or not?
Oh, it's the fan above me. It's like 110 degrees in here.
His head was going to pop around the curtain.
Is he back there?
Fan.
Is he hiding?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, come on.
Here's the thing. Whatever we say about the stars, and they do have stars, but I think they tend to be shooting stars in MMA, and with a very fast parabola and a very fast diaspora, which is why the best fighting the best, and it happening very quickly makes them shooting stars. But what we have to say about the franchise is it's one of the most innovative and most successful commercial sports franchises we've ever seen, and it is down to their Machiavellian, perspicacious ways of network deals, of like you say, short term but very successful marketing, but not long term marketing, which brings me to that whole point about TKO, Dana White, and Turkey. Boxing's a different sell; it's a longer sell. The viral moments are different, and the way you develop a fighter from, say, Olympic values or world amateur champion up to European or national American level to intercontinental to world title level, it's a different algorithm, and that's what I think Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White may find quite difficult. They're going to have to be patient about the way they build boxers, if they do build boxers.
Now, Gareth, I want to quickly get your thoughts on something, but before I do, when it comes to the boxing, Mike, feast your eyes on this. I don't know if you've ever seen this, my friend, but this is Gareth taking it to me. Look at this.
Oh, the knee.
Look at this. Look at those knees. Hold on, we've got some more over here. Hold on, Gareth. Now, talk me through this. What are you thinking right here as you're beating the crap out of me?
Right. I take it from the. Oh yeah, here we go. You said I was a lot heavier then. I was probably about 30 pounds heavier as well, by the way. I'm a sprightly 12 stone 8 now, but
yeah, you're looking good.
There we go. You said I bet you can't hurt me, and I said yes, I will. I'm going to get hold of you. I didn't even throw the head kick at you.
No, you threw a good kick here somewhere. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. It was very impressive, Mike. I think it might be here. Hold on. Look at the kicking. And this is like on the spot, man. You didn't even need a second. Look at that. Almost took
Not bad in a pair of golf trousers, but the important
very impressive
thing there is that you showed that you can take it, because 30 seconds later in a real fight, you'd have been beating me up on the floor and submitting.
Oh, no way, man. Come on.
Submission radio is all about. Because unless I put you out cold and hailed the cab very quickly, I think I'd have got beaten up by you.
Let me ask you about one more about TKO boxing, Gareth. People are trying to figure out how this model is going to work, right? They want to pay the fighters less. They want to sign, unknown fighters kind of early. They want to pay them less. They want to avoid this whole Ali structure, and they're going to want to run it like the UFC, right? Like MMA. But how do you make that work in boxing when the whole idea of the sport is the big prizes and working your way up to the big crowns and making that big money and all the different promoters working together? Like, is that really a possibility, you think, that Turkey and Dana could create, or is this just pipe dreams right here?
It is possible to create it, but you'd have to have patience over 3 to 5 years to do it in that first iteration that was kind of put out there, that champions earn 750 and challengers 500 or whatever it was. I think they'll go a different route. There was a second kind of announcement iteration of how they would do it, which was, 12 events a year and 4 super fights, 12 big events a year and 4 super fights. I think they would dispense with that long-term idea very quickly, and I think they would scramble to sign most of the fighters in the top 10 in, let's say at the moment, I would say in the heavyweight division, because it's always the very much the blue ribbon division in boxing, not so much in MMA, because it's a different, it's a different algorithm, as I say. You know, your welterweights, your light heavyweights, they're all lightweights, even your featherweights produce fantastic contests, and that goes for the lighter women as well. But in boxing, the heavyweights, the light heavyweights, the super middleweights, the middleweights, and the welterweights, I think what they'll end up doing, because they've got so much money available to them, Turki Al-Sheikh is not the kind of guy that's going to wait 5 years for someone to develop. I think they'll just buy the biggest names and then underneath them bring through a conveyor belt of talent. I think what they'll do is employ that second iteration, which I mentioned, which is sign up the big names for 4 tentpole events and then create a conveyor belt for the other 12 and have them on contracts. Like you say, the Muhammad Ali Act is the important thing about that, because they clearly want to manage and promote them. So they'll put them on contracts to have them signed up to fight 4 times a year or whatever, which you've got to do in boxing when you're developing.
Yeah, but I mean, this sounds kind of like, this doesn't sound great for the sport. Like, Mike, does this sound good for the sport of boxing? Like, this doesn't sound good at all, right?
No, they'll get in. They'll be co-promoters in big fights, but then they'll do what they're doing with the UFC business model. I mean, look at what the UFC business model is. We're gonna do the Contender Series. We're gonna beef up our roster with 10 and 10 fighters, and then we're gonna cut the guys who make 6 figures who aren't winning fights. I can absolutely see a world where Gareth laid it out beautifully, but the UFC, well, not even the UFC, but TKO and Dana in particular as an executive producer, he could do the Contender Series all year long now. He could do 6 months with the UFC Contender Series. He could do 6 months of boxing fights, signing guys who go in there and just bang it out for however many rounds they want these fights to be. And he could put them under contracts, give them opportunity to compete in front of a lot of eyeballs that they wouldn't be able to with the amount of experience they had outside of that. So I could absolutely see them going the reality show route, doing the 5 fights to try to earn a contract with TKO Boxing, just to try to beef up the roster. And who knows, maybe you find a Sean O'Malley, maybe you find a Jamal Hill, maybe you find a Jack Della Maddalena who just runs through everything and not only becomes a ranked fighter, but could win a world title someday. Like, maybe you find that diamond in the rough. But Dana loves doing those shows. You see the passion when he does the Contender Series. And at least the first couple of seasons will be good, right? Just like the first couple of seasons of Contender Series were my favorite thing the UFC did.
There's
the best of the best.
Yeah. There's reasons for that. It's because you've got hungry fighters prepared to lay it all on the line. And then you come down to matchmaking, which are all, the nuance is so important. I mean, you mentioned Maddalena there. The matchmaking against Belal Muhammad was brilliant because you had a guy that couldn't find himself in the fight and a new Australian star who delivers like a Justin Gaethje in lots of ways, maybe more finesse than Justin and more controlled than Justin is in the way he fights. There's so much luck involved in creating superstars. Like I say, with Ben and Eubank just now, we had 65,000 people there. It crossed over because they delivered for 12 rounds of an absolute war. They got away with it with 2 weight divisions differential. There's a lot of luck involved, and there's also a lot of patience involved, and that's the big thing that I question. I think you're right about Contender type series. They'll find hungry fighters. They'll say, go out there and fight. We'll reward you for knockouts, and that's the way they're going to have to go about it. Because otherwise, even though they'll have money, Frank Warren's brilliant at what he does. Bob Arum's brilliant at what he does. Ben Shalom is growing in his role with Sky Sports as their promoter. Eddie Hearn is a brilliant promoter. They're just going to be in rivalry to those guys. And even though Turki Al-Sheikh got everybody in a group together and working together, he obviously wanted to shake up the sport, have a look at things. And now he's giving Dana White his opportunity. It may not work at all after a couple of years, and they may give up the ghost. But I think he's gone to Dana. I think Nick Khan was very influential in those talks and in bringing them together. And I think when Turki Al-Sheikh heard that Dana, we've heard it for a decade that he wanted to get into boxing, by the way. So this was just an opportunity. Turki sees his success. Dana's all the way up to Meta now on the board at Meta. As you say, as you both said, he's very influential. So why not suck it and see, so to speak?
I think boxing's his first love. What will the other promoters do, Gareth? Like, let's say the UFC gains momentum and they start getting real market share here. You spoke about Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, all these guys. Do they cease to exist eventually, in your opinion, once the UFC is able to rebuild this and those big stars disappear? How do they keep working? And the interesting thing here is it's like Turkey is the guy that's giving these guys money as well. So does he then stop at some point giving these other promoters money and just focus on this new system? What do you think?
I think it'll just be a mishmash. I think some fighters and their managers will go to Turkey Al-Sheikh when there's huge money available. It's a bit like, look at Canelo. He agreed that fight with Jake Paul because he knew he'd get 50 million for a win-win where he could dance around, probably sign a contract where he wouldn't have to beat up Jake Paul too badly, but that maybe hurts him late in the fight. Jake Paul's lost already. So there are fighters that will go for the money always talks in boxing, as it does in all sports. It's a business as well as it is a sport, and maybe more of a business than it is a sport at the top level. So I think, again, for us as observers, we've got to suck and see what happens. I don't think the other promoters are not going to disappear anywhere, just as people say boxing's dead all the time. It goes like this. I've been around it for such a long time. I think MMA is like this. And I think boxing goes like this, big peaks and troughs. Like the heavyweight division is really exciting at the moment. Turkey Al-Sheikh invested in it in the last 18, 19 months, created big funds for big fighters, 2 undisputed fights last year, another one on July the 19th with Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. This time done outside the auspices of Riyadh Season, Salah, Turkey Al-Sheikh and the Ring magazine. So I just think we'll get some cooperation with Turkey and the other promoters when it works. And when it doesn't, I think they'll do their own thing.
All right. Last one from me, Gareth, and then we'll let you go because I know you have to get going. Tyson Fury, who's he fighting? It looks like he's coming out of retirement. What do you think?
Yeah, there have been big hints for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's just finished a 6-mile run earlier today with sweat on his back in 22-degree heat here in Morecambe, in the north of England. If you've ever been to Morecambe, it's Blackpool basically. It's the kind of rough bit of the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. That's the equivalent. I don't know.
On the reality show, he would just get out of the house at random times whenever his wife needed him to do stuff in the kitchen.
He's not emptying the bins or taking the 7 kids to school, is what it is.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta go for a run. I'll see you guys later. Oh, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm going for a run. I'll see you guys later. Oh,
Exactly. So he's sparring a little bit. He looks in good shape. His father, John, has said he wants to be in the corner for his next fight. Sugar Hill Stewards appeared recently. I've nailed my colours to the mast, having spoken to his team in the background and to Frank Warren on my show on Saturday night, and to his management team. I think he's coming back, and I think it'll be a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua in October and in April next year. And again, the October fight, if Turkey Al-Sheikh wants it to open the Riyadh season, they'll probably earn another 50 million each for it. So it'll go where the money is. If he isn't involved, it'll be at Wembley and they'll probably earn 35, 40 million each.
Perfect. All right, Call of the Warrior, that's coming out. How do we get our hands on it around the world? What do you got? You got something for us? Look at this, Mike. Okay. Wow. Tyson Fury coming back. Yeah, is Tyson Fury hiding behind the curtain like Derek Lewis is hiding behind Mike's curtain? Look at that beautiful piano as well. Oh, there. Look at that.
Oh, there it is.
Call of the Warrior, but I'll just give you a little glance.
Give us a little taste, Gareth.
I must send you a copy, a signed copy.
Yeah,
it's
wow.
It's a big coffee table, but weighs 2 kilos. I'll just give it a little flick through.
Look at those photos. Those are beautiful.
29 essays. The controversial bit, it was 5 years' work. Brilliant photographs by Sonia Jasinski, who's also the publisher of the book. And it's Call of the Warrior with Joe Calzaghe as the forward. And I've written 29 essays from Saul Canelo Alvarez to Bob Arum, Dimitri Bivol, Michael Buffett, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and so on, Ryan Garcia. I did include, controversially, KSI and Jake Paul in the book.
Oh no! Did you cop some flack for that, Gareth?
Yeah,
Did you hear about that from the old heads, the old boxing heads?
I did, but when you've got 105 million people watching Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson, he's bringing something, and they're shifting the paradigm. That whole misfits thing. That I don't agree with all the misfits antics, but it's still bringing hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of young people to look at what boxing could be for them, or going to the gym could be for them. So I included them in the book, and there it is. It's 5 years work. Very proud of it. Didn't realize how proud I was going to be. And I'm very proud to have come on your show and lasted 30 minutes tonight.
What a legend. Thank you so much, Gareth. First of many appearances, I hope. Congratulations on the book. Make sure to check out the new book. And of course, man, can't wait to see what happens next for you, dude. There's so many things cooking for you over there as well. Thanks so much for joining us.
Look forward to seeing you both in person at some point. Cheers, my bro.
Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye. All right, Mike. So, Gareth, what about that, huh? That's a great book right there. You and me.
Yeah.
You reckon he'll send us a copy? That's 2 kilograms. That's a lot of postage to America and Australia, especially. You reckon he's going to stick by his word here? We got it on camera.
I mean, look, it'll be on the watch parties if it comes. So
I know you're going to get a copy before me. Way more people watch that than this. All right, let's talk a couple more things here before I let you go. And I appreciate you. Oh, by the way, Oscar Willis tuning in here. I just want to quickly wish him a happy birthday, Mike. It's Oscar's birthday. Happy birthday, Oscar! And shout out to all the boys over there. I'm sure they're having a few bevies right now. I want to talk quickly about this whole John Jones, Tom Aspinall thing, Mike, because I gotta say, this situation has to be one of the most unpleasant and frustrating situations we've had in the sport for a while, and that's saying something. You look at the schedule, and if this thing isn't announced till November, right, we've still got, like, what, a month or so of this crap to go for MMA fans out there? Break this down for us, man. How can we survive this crazy, stupid period right now? I don't know if we can take this crap any longer.
Like, I don't know what we're doing here. I mean, we've been telling you for a year that this fight's never going to happen, and it's not going to. They're not going to fight. John Jones, Tom Aspinall are never, ever fighting each other. So I don't know why this is still a thing. John is tweeting up a storm. He knows he's got the UFC by the balls right now because of what you just laid out, saying that they have till November to try to convince John to come and fight Tom Aspinall. And he's just not going to do it. Apparently, from multiple reports, the UFC came correct with an offer, given John his quote-unquote FU money, and he still hasn't said yes to it. So, look, it's okay. Let's just move on. Tom Aspinall could be the heavyweight champion of the world, as I've been saying he has been for a while, as he should be parading himself around as, not John Jones. Tom Aspinall should be saying, I'm the real heavyweight champion. That would have gotten under John's skin more than doing interviews and talking about John on his YouTube channel. Just him saying, John ain't the real champion, I am. And just leaving it at that, I think that would have got John's attention a little bit more. But having said that, just have Tom fight anybody else, man. Like, have him fight Zero Gone. I don't give a shit. Just make him the champion. And if John wants to come back and fight, he can fight for the belt in his first fight. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. Just, John has said many times, strip me of the belt. I don't need it. I'll fight Alex Pereira without a belt. He's even tweeted out, like, look, strip me. And do you think that's something that I would care about or that would make me upset? I'm not retired. At least I wouldn't call it retired. Just, he's giving you everything you need to strip him of the belt and move on with this division. He's giving it to you, and he knows he is, and he knows you'll do nothing about it. It's so annoying. They're not going to do anything. Tom Aspinall is going to sit his ass on the sidelines and watch his prime waste away, and John Jones is going to sit in Thailand with a fucking Mai Tai laughing at you. He's going to laugh at Tom Aspinall. He's laughing at the UFC. He's laughing at us. He's laughing at everybody that is giving him shit about this because he knows he's got you by the balls and there's nothing anybody could do about it. So that's it. I mean, the fight's not going to happen. John's going to troll everybody for the next 8 months. And then eventually, heading into 2026, they'll name Tom Aspinall the heavyweight champion. And the second Tom Aspinall loses a fight, if he ever does, John will go on social media and be like, ha, told you that guy sucked. and then we're just going to continue this shit on for the rest of our lives. So,
but does it ever get to
in.
the point? But does it ever get to the point where it starts to tarnish the legacy? Hold on, we got someone coming through on their live from their birthday party.
Oh shit,
Oscar Willis.
What's
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Hi, buddy.
Thanks, mate. We were just Brett's learning to.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, sorry. We were just watching a live stream, enjoying it very much, and then we decided to get involved. And then I said, "Dennis, bring me on." And here we are. But yeah,
well, dude, happy birthday, man! Happy birthday! How you guys going over there? I mean, Michael's just breaking it down beautifully, right? John Jones.
Well, I enjoyed my breakdown, and I have to say, like, the thing about John Jones is like that he sort of dips his toe in, dips his toe out. He's like, "Oh, I'm retired, but I don't want to say I'm retired." It's like, mate, stop cock teasing me and fucking commit, you know? Brett, what do you think?
I just know that everything John says is of the utmost truth. Never lies. Never is.
John hates Brett. Can we get 2 more beers over here?
All right,
and then
there it
also
is.
2 more shots.
All right, well, guys, you look like you're having a great time. We wish we were there. Any words out there for the fans out there, Oscar? I know there's a lot of happy birthdays coming your way. Have you had a good birthday?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Tottenham just won their first league title first League Cup ever. And I fly to New Zealand tomorrow for Dan Hooker's. It's a Kung
Royal Rumble
Fu
thing?
tournament. Because if it's a Kung Fu tournament, it's exempt from any licensing. So tomorrow and Saturday in New Zealand, Dan Hooker's holding a Kung Fu tournament, all right?
Yes. Yes, keep an eye on the Mac Life for that one. Shout out to you, Brett. Happy birthday, Oscar. Love you, boys. Thanks so much.
Love
for
Happy
you,
birthday,
guys.
buddy. Good to see you, Brett.
All right.
Wow,
How
what a
about
drop
that? The
in.
boys, that is what's happening live. We are missing out, Mike, you know? This
You
is
sure
what
are.
the problem is. But there are still things cooking over here. Hey, let me ask you this, dude. Just going back to this whole situation between Tom Aspinall and John Jones. Let's say this fight does happen in November. Let's say John Jones does go out there and let's say he does beat Tom Aspinall. Then he retires. What do we do with the heavyweight division after that? Like, what do you do with the heavyweight division after that? Like, I was looking through the rankings, right? And I'm like, what do you do? Like, if Tom Aspinall loses, do you just pretend the fight never happens and then put him back in another main event for the title? Like, what do you do if John Jones is like, all right, see you guys later. I just beat Tom. I got my money.
So I'm going to put myself in the UFC shoes right now. So let's just say, let's say Dana goes on Instagram right now and he says, look, Charles Oliveira is hurt. Luckily, we got John Jones and Tom Aspinall to agree to headline International Fight Week. Okay. And let's say John wins and then says, thanks for the cheese, I'm outie. The UFC will book Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the vacant heavyweight belt. They will make the biggest possible fight they can. They'll throw Pereira in there because that's going to make more money at this point than Pereira rematching Magomed Ankalaev by 1,000. And it's just an interesting fight. Like, we've seen the Pavlich fight. Who knows? Maybe if Derek Lewis beats Dallas and Teixeira, they just throw those 2 dudes in there and let them slug it out. Like, people would love to see Derek Lewis fight for a world title. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could go, but I think if I'm looking at it from a UFC lens, they probably just call Pereira up and say, hey, man, you want to be a 3-division champion? Try to do it for Islam. Why don't you go in there and fight Tom Aspinall and you can have your chance to do it. So that just shows us kind of how dire this situation is right now, because you bench Tom, and the tough part is he's kind of already fought everybody on the way up. So
look at this ranking right here. Like, in all due respect,
so ridiculous.
This has to be one of the worst divisions. Like, if you take Tom, maybe Garn out of it, like, all right, Volkov, like, he's kind of been around. Say, okay, let's
light
say
heavyweight's worse.
You reckon? All right, let's have a look. Let's compare. Let's compare. Well, hold on. So right here we got 1, 2, 3, and then after Blades, you got your Almeida, Spivak, Tybura. Is he even? Did he get re-signed? And then of course Lewis, great name value. Tuivasa, who I don't even think he's back in action. Like, he's not planning to be back in action for ages. And after that, I mean, you mentioned
WCA is on a run. Godziev, main eventer. Mick Parkin. Who else we got there? Talis Teixeira, main eventer. Martin Budai. I mean, look at that division.
I mean, main eventer is a very loose term, Mike. Main eventer is a very loose term. All right, well, let's have a look at light heavyweight by comparison. Okay.
Ooh.
Alex, okay, we got big
Alex and Yair rock. Okay, I'm not taking anything away from those guys. And you got Jamal Hill, and he's fun as hell. And Khalil Roundtree is fun.
Okay, so
Dominic
after
Reyes,
that,
what a story he would be. But look at this, dude. Like, it's potential, sure. Alonzo Menafield is the number 15 ranked guy, and a lot of people thought he lost his last fight to a guy making his debut on 6 days' notice. So,
so which one do you think is the worst? Are these the two worst divisions in the UFC, or who? What do you?
Oh my God, by a country mile, those are the two worst divisions.
You look at lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, and you're like, why can't some of this translate over to light heavyweight and to heavyweight, right? Like it's insane.
Yair can't fight every week.
So what do we then do with the light heavyweight title? Are we doing Big Unk versus Carlos Ulberg if Pereira's not ready?
No.
Do we do that? What do we do?
No, you give Dominic Reyes his chance, not the belt. You throw Dominic Reyes in with Carlos Ulberg next. If Dom wins, you give him a title shot. Like, just let's see if he could do it, because that would be the greatest story. That would be unreal if that were to happen. Like, people are rooting for this to happen. Dominic Reyes, the man who defeated John Jones in the eyes of 90% of the MMA community, then he gets brutally knocked out in his next several fights. People are throwing dirt on top of the coffin that is his career. And then, like Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, part 6, his fist comes flying through the dirt and he comes through and he with worms coming out of his eyes and he starts knocking fools out. And now look at him. He could go fight Carlos Ulberg and be a freaking hero and maybe fight for the title. Like, I think that's the fight you make. You let Big Onk just kind of sit out and chill and wait and see what happens. If he gets Pereira, great. If not, wait to see what happens with these two dudes. If he has to fight Ulberg, he fights Ulberg. But if he fights Dominic Reyes, that's a huge deal, and the UFC will push the shit out of it. So that's how I would book light heavyweight right now, and we'll see.
Question here from the chat. How do you think Dana explains the delay in stripping John if and when it I mean, does he need to explain it? The guy's out there doing rants about him being the greatest of all time. Does he care about explaining it? This is
Habib all over again. This is Habib's coming back. No, but Dana, he said, I will never fight again. I made a promise to my father and my mother that I will never, ever do this again. There's nothing Dana can say or do. He could offer me $1 billion and I won't fight. And Dana's like, yeah, man, I never say never. We're going to try to get this dude back. And then a month later, he's like, yeah, that dude ain't coming back. We're in the same boat. Dana got caught with his pants down in Tampa. He was asked by Danny Segura, do you guarantee this fight's going to happen? And Dana White said, yes. And John Jones's ears percolated to the 9th degree. John's like, oh, you think so, motherfucker? Watch this. Watch me delay this and watch my market value go up as you keep trying to make this fight. And then you pay this man what he wants, and he's still like, no, I'm not fighting him. It's the best. I don't blame John for any of this. I really, truly don't. People want to say he's ducking Tom Aspinall. I don't. I'll support you in that argument. But this is fully on the UFC. 1,000,000%. And the longer this goes, it's not John. Your guys are taking your venom and you're throwing it in the wrong direction. The venom goes to the UFC because they can end this at any second by going on Instagram and stripping John of the belt. They could do that at any time, and they won't do it. So stop. I know you want to blame John. He's easy to blame. He's fucked up so many times. I get it. But take your venom elsewhere. Take it where it belongs. And the UFC is so good at this. They're so good at avoiding all the ricochets from all of this. They are to blame, not John, and certainly not Tom. Throw it at the UFC.
You know, another thing that people keep bringing up, just moving back to the other glamour divisions in lightweight or welterweight, is we've got so many contenders now, right? We've got Islam moving up to 170. We've got Ilya fighting Charles. We've got a bunch of welterweight contenders. And we keep going back and forth on this 165 division and the fact that the UFC never want to make it. We've seen fighters like the Kevin Lees of the world that didn't quite fit into both divisions basically get pushed out because they couldn't really survive in this or that division because the weight cuts were kind of weird, but they were too small for welterweight. They were too big for lightweight. Do you think that that's a conversation that needs to get revisited one more time? Do you think there needs to be a 165-pound division, potentially with so much talent in both divisions? I mean, we have contenders for days now, right, Mike? Like, it looks like a gridlock in both divisions.
Do they need it? No. Should they do it? Yes. They should do all the divisions. They should get them all in. Separate them all by 10. Do a 205 to 225 division. Like, do that. Like, more belts is not bad. We already know what the belts are at this point. They're props. Look at what John Jones is doing right now. It is a prop. He's not fighting. He's just got a belt. He's defended it. He's fought once in 3 years, essentially. Like, and he's still a champion. The rankings don't matter. The titles don't matter as much. They're just fun for posters. It's cool to say you're a UFC champion. And yes, it's obviously important to the fighters because that's their opportunity to really start making money in the sport. And it's a big climb to get to that place. So I understand it from that perspective, but yeah, like more belts is awesome. Then you like when you're in situations where it's like, shit, international fight weeks in 8 weeks, we don't have a main event. Oh, wait a minute. We could do a 175-pound title fight or a 195-pound title fight. We could just create the BMF title at 225 pounds and just chuck 2 dudes in there. Like, more belts is a good thing for the UFC. More titles, like all of this is good and fans gravitate towards it. Like, I don't understand why it's an issue and why they won't do it, but the UFC is just kind of, this is what we do. This is how we've always done it. And we're going to keep doing that. Like, people keep saying like, well, Dana wants to do an atomweight division. Well, I just don't know if they're going to do it anytime soon. There's just no need for it from the UFC perspective. I'd love to see the UFC do an atomweight division. We could have saw what Michelle Watterson could have been if she fought at her natural weight class, and other fighters as well, but they're not going to do it. It would be cool if they did because it would get them out of a lot of jams, but they're not going to do it. Well, I can't hear you.
One final thing before we wrap up, and that is we got to talk about this Alex Volkanovski next title defense. Now, for a lot of people out there that don't realize, we thought Mosar was going to potentially fight Alex Volkanovski next. If that wasn't going to happen, maybe some kind of crazy mix-up. But Mike, what was your reaction when things are now starting to point to the fact that it's going to be Alex Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez too, because they have this big Mexico card coming up? I spoke to Ali Abdelaziz. He confirmed that Mosar is going to have to fight once again, another time before potentially getting a title shot. But it's not just the fact that Mosar is getting passed over in this situation, not just the fact that Alex Volkanovski said he actually wants to fight Mosar, take his undefeated streak. Not just the fact that that's rightfully the fight to make, but also the fact that we're going to see Yair again after he got absolutely dominated by Alex Volkanovski, and we have to accept that out of all the potential options. This
he got perfect
games.
Right? Like, it's not like Yair. It's not like the Yair Max fight where it was like super competitive and both beat the shit out of each other. Like, Alex Volkanovski pitched a perfect game in that fight. He was in trouble for literally 0 seconds in that fight, and he beat the shit out of Yair Rodriguez that night. And that was when people were saying, coming off of Yair's win over Josh Emmett, all right, this guy might be the dude. Stylistically, he could give Volkanovski a ton of fits. Like, he really could. Just look at what he did to Josh Emmett. Look at how his game's coming together. And then Volk took his best shot and laughed at him and ran his ass over. There is zero interest for me in that fight. I get why the UFC would want to do it, especially if they're going to Guadalajara, which, if you read different reports, that's kind of up in the air right now, considering they can't even get a freaking arena, or the arena they're going to use keeps delaying their opening and they're canceling events in the lead into the opening. So that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, dude, like, you think if they go on Instagram, they're like, yo, this is the main event, it's Volkanovski Yair 2, that people are going to be like, yay? No, they're going to be like, what? Why are we doing this again? First of all, Diego Lopez should be fighting Yair. I don't know why we're waiting on that. Those two guys hate each other and they have a story. Just have them fight each other. What are we doing? And give Movsar his opportunity? Like, what annoys me about this to no end is this all could have been avoided if Dana White knew who Movsar Evloev was at UFC 297. Because he was asked, like, oh, what did you think of Movsar? I think that was the most boring fight I've ever seen. When he knows, like, there's no way Dana was talking about that fight. There's no way at that moment he knew who Movsar Evloev was. He confused that fight with a different fight on that card. I am still sold to this day that that is the case. But yeah, sure, Yair. Like, the Mexican fans will love it, and they'll make a shit ton of money at the gate, which is more important than really anything else for them right now. It's more important than pay-per-view buys and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a bummer. I wouldn't be surprised by it if that's the announcement, but oh well. I mean, I still love watching Yair fight. I just don't think that fight goes any differently.
I just think he can't go wrong with Alex Volkanovski, but this is like the one wrong option that they have. Before we wrap up, what do we even do with the rest of the division? It's an interesting situation. I just had Lorne Murphy on. He's trying to get a fight going in the division. He's kind of in a tough spot because he's got a lot of backlash from fans after the last performance, right? But we've got Alex Volkanovski up the top, Diego Lopez, Taporia's out, Yair Rodriguez, Mosa, and then we've got, Brian Ortega, Lorne Murphy's, Aljo's, of course, and we've got Gian Silva, which is a big draw card in the division as well. Well, like, ideally, how would you, and obviously Aaron Pico as well, Pitbull's in the mix there as well. Ideally, how would you match up some of these guys? Like, let's say Gian Silva. What do you think is the next fight for him?
I'd give Gian Silva, I'd give him Movsar, man. Like, if we're not giving Movsar a title shot, just give him to Movsar and let's see what happens. Because if John wins, he gets a title shot. And if Movsar wins, okay, he beat Gian Silva. Like, we have to give him a title shot now. He's the hot face in the division. So you can do Aaron Pico versus Lerone Murphy. I think that's like a good little intro right now.
Yeah, and if Lorne Murphy, maybe a good chance for him to get some new fans if he can.
Yeah, and if Aaron, and if Aaron dices him up, then Aaron looks like a superstar. It's like why I love Patchy Mix versus Mario Batista so much. Like, we're gonna know everything about Patchy Mix in 15 minutes or less. Either Patchy Mix is going to be a guy who's going to fight for a UFC title and by 2026, or Patchy Mix is a guy who's never going to fight for a UFC title if he loses. So, like, we're going to know immediately where he sits, and we'll pretty much have a good idea with Aaron Pico as well if he fights Lerone Murphy and loses a tepid decision to Lerone like he's been doing to a lot of guys. So I like that idea. And then I just, the division's so good, it doesn't really matter. Just throw them all in there and have them fight each other. But
you could do Lopez and Pico. That could be a fun one.
Don't hate that.
That's a banger.
Yeah, you could do Silva and Lopez. Don't hate that. Like, you could do Lopez Movsar 2. Do the rematch. Don't hate that. I mean, Movsar should be fighting for the belt. Like, even Volk saying it, like, that's the most meaningful fight for him right now.
Even just in terms of like interest as well. Like, there's a big fan base in Russia that's going to get on top of it. I just don't understand it. I was telling Lorne Murphy as well, like, about Gian Silva, and he wasn't that keen. But I think almost he's like that lottery pick in the division because he's like the second most popular guy and potentially a lot less dangerous than some of these other guys. This is a great guy to fight if you're in the division, you want to get noticed, because a lot of these guys that we're speaking about outside of Lopez and some of these other guys, it's like people don't really know much about Lorne Murphy outside of some of the negative stuff they've seen. Like, they're not the biggest fans. I would be jumping on that train if I was some of these guys to try and get that entertainment value, get those new fans. Just quickly, with Patchy Mix, you mentioned him just before, right before we wrap up. What do you think happens to him if he does win here at UFC 316? Like, we've got Corey Sainhagen, we've got Piotr Jan. He's telling me, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he has no fight. He has to fight, like, in Abu Dhabi or whatever. He's taking anybody. We've got Corey Sainhagen in there as well. We're talking about next title shots. And then now with Patchy Mix enters the chat. He wins here. Do you want to see one more from him and then a title shot? Or do you do Corey Sainhagen, Patchy Mix for the title shot? Do you get Piotr Jan in there somehow? He rightfully also deserves something in that title shot area. How would you sort of book it?
It depends who wins. Like, I think if Merab wins, that's the worst nightmare for Piotr Jan, honestly, because Merab like 50-43'd him. That fight wasn't competitive at all.
Harder to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really tough to sell. If O'Malley wins, different story.
That's got to be cool. You got to do Sainhagen if O'Malley wins, right? Like, you just got to.
Yeah. I mean, again, but O'Malley's not the most active guy either. So I would say worst case scenario, Patchy will fight Sandhagen or he gets a title shot. But a win is not enough. Like, if Patchy wins the same way he beat Magomedov, it does nothing for him at all. It's just a win and that's it. He's got to ice Mario Batista because the fan base will love it, because people are mad at him for beating Jose Aldo in the one way he was going to beat Jose Aldo. So Patchy goes in there, becomes a talking point coming out of that event, especially when the bantamweight title is on the line to cap off the show. He's in a great spot, but he has to win, man. He has to win this fight. He loses, he's not fighting for a belt. Like, I know people say like, oh, there's still time. Probably not, man. Like, that road becomes really, really long. They have given him the ideal spot to debut in this division against the right guy to beat, where the fans will jump on your side if you get a victory. He's got to win, man. He's got to do it exciting. He's got to do it in a big way. He's got to be the guy that you use as a headline for post-fight shows. Reaction to Merab and O'Malley. Patchy Mix's incredible debut. Like, that's the kind of performance he's going to need in what, 18 days? It's coming fast, man. Coming fast.
But not a bad spot to be on, right? On a pay-per-view like that, where you can be a part of the storyline straight away, and also not that many big fights, you can stand out a little bit. Mike, as we wrap up, BTL coming up this week. You got a big episode with Jed Meshew that everyone can get excited about. A Q&A episode. You've got the big golf stuff coming out with Derek Lewis. That's around the corner. Anything else big coming to MMA fighting that people need to quickly jump on and look out for?
Nothing I really announce. You'll see the Derek Lewis stuff. It's going to drop soon. Ideally, it'll drop next week before UFC Vegas 107. Yeah, just normal stuff, man. Shows and ranting and raving and some irons in the fire that I can't really talk about just yet, but we're working here. We're working over here at MMAfighting.com.
We're working over here. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us here on Submission Radio Live. Mike, thanks again. And make sure to subscribe and check out Mike online for all the stuff coming up. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for joining us on Submission Radio Live.